All right, so with the requirements txt file done, let's move on to our next configuration file, which will be called Pytest ini. Obviously, it's for the Pytest configurations. So what we need to do here is add our header at the top here, called Pytest, so the framework could pick it up. And we're going to be adding a couple of options to this, changing some things up, some practices that I like to do. So let's go ahead and add this. So this first one is called add ops, which is add options. And what we're going to do with this, some of these are self-explanatory and some of these are not. We're going to be turning off the fault handler. To do that, we would do -p, no fault, fault handler. And so basically what the fault handler is it helps you with like diagnosing crashes and debugs. I mean, you can definitely have this up when you're developing and testing, but I found this thing to be more of an annoyance, and it's sometimes caused some of my stuff to fail when it shouldn't have. Granted, I was working with an older version of Pytest, but I just like to have this off as much as possible. But you can have it on if you want to. Play around with it, see if it works for you. The next thing we're going to add is our HTML report, what it's called. So in this case, we're going to call it report.html. We want that report to be self-contained, so we're going to pass in the self-contained flag. Oh, I forgot HTML. There we go. So it's a self-contained HTML. We want to show the capture of our text here, so we're going to show the std out. And then we're going to pass in something called TB, which is short for traceback. So we want that to be the native version. So we have that. And I guess something else to note here is, so with the show capture here, we're only wanting to see the std out. It kind of just depends on what's going on here, but if you've got a lot of output, this just kind of keeps it clean. Our reports will capture all of our failures and whatnot, and we'll get that all configured and set up. But I think this is all we're going to need for the add options section. So let's go ahead and go to our next one. We're going to specify the name of our Python files that we'll be looking for to be tested. And so what I like to do is I like to have my Python files that are going to be, containing tests be named test, or I guess prepended with test underscore, and then we're going to have anything else here, our wildcard, and then .py. So test underscore, oops, sorry, not test, test underscore, any name you want it. So this can be any file you want, and then ending with .py. Same thing with our functions, just keep it the same here. So we're going to be doing Python functions equals test underscore, and then we have our asterisk for our wildcard and whatever we want. Let's see, what else do we need here? We're going to need, so our logs, let me look this up real quick. So the logs, log CLI, we're going to want that set to level 1, which is info, just to keep our terminal output pretty calm. And then we're going to want to, once again, set our log level to info as well, just to be safe. I think that's all we need for this part. One more thing we could add in here, just I remember, and I've gone through this and seen this a bunch of times, we can add a filter warning. So basically, we'll just go ahead and do that real quick. Filter warnings. Once again, this is optional. You can do whatever you want with this, play around with it however you feel best makes sense for your framework and for your tests. But In this case, I'm going to be filtering out the errors. I'm going to be ignoring the user warnings. Let's see. And let's see. Ignore deprecation, I believe. Yeah, deprecation warning. And so basically what this is doing is, so if we go to the errors line here, this will make it so that all warnings are treated as errors, which is kind of what you want when you're going through all this and testing all of this out. Specific ones I am ignoring though, if they do pop up, would be like it says here. So we are ignoring the user warning, so then it won't fail then. And we are ignoring a deprecation warning, which happens with, some of these packages. Sometimes you can get this message and it can cause like the whole test to fail, but it's just a warning for deprecation. So once again, play with these and see what makes sense for what you're using and what you're doing. These two are just, I remember seeing these ones quite often, and they weren't actually failures in my case. So otherwise, you could just completely ignore this entire filter warnings thing. But that should wrap it up for this file. We have, I believe, one more configuration file, and that's going to be for our actual framework itself to use environment variables. So we'll go ahead and get to that next. See you guys then. Thanks.